welcome to my podcast, The Melancholy Guy Talks. And right now, I'm talking recovery, living with addiction. In this podcast, I'm sharing my journey through life while being an open, polyamorous African American male living in recovery. I am the Melancholy Guy, or Calvin, or CPJR, if you know me. And today, I definitely believe that change I must or die I will. To learn more about the Melancholy Guy, go to Instagram and click the link in the bio. Also, with a donation of just $1, you can have access to my first series on ethical non monogamy, the fun stuff that started my podcast journey. See my Patreon page for more info. Links in the show notes and in the Instagram bio. So let's talk. Today's date is 6/7 2020, and it's been 141 days since I felt the need to pick up my drug of choice. Today's episode is, and I've lost that. Today's episode is Early Recovery, basically starting over again, episode 60. This show will consist of three segments: the weekly check in, the discussion topic, and Ask an Addict question of the week. This is the format I experienced the many times I was in intensive outpatient treatment, so it seems appropriate now as this show is truly an integral part of my recovery process. Welcome or welcome back, everyone. Come on in, sit down, and have a seat. It's time for the check in. How has your week been? And for me, this week, or I'm sorry, the last 2 weeks have been up and down, elated. I've been elated and I've been exhausted and I've been working like crazy. I've missed sitting here in this chair talking about my recovery and what I'm doing to stay healthy and on this side of recovery and not drowning in active addiction as I was this time last year. Um, so that I've completed the move. We've completed the move. Now live in Laurel. If you watch the YouTube video, you'll see that I'm in a new location, a new studio. This is actually our study. This is where we work. This is where, because everybody's working from home now because of COVID, this is where we play and this is where we socialize. So this is a nice little space now. If you, like I said, you watch the video, you'll see parts of it there. And this is the first recording from the Zen Den. I actually had another podcast scheduled for this week, but I decided to do this one on early recovery. I said I would come back to this topic because since I'm 140 days clean, not clean, I'm 140 days in recovery. Um, I just wanted to talk about early recovery again. This is the next stage of it since I passed the first 90 days, early days, the first 90 days of recovery, which is basically just stop using. So after I've stopped using for 90 days, I can honestly say that I'm in recovery. So if I were to pick up again, then I would definitely have relapse. And as I've said before, relapse starts long before you pick up. So it's a constant, battle to, not a constant battle, but constant work to stay on this side of recovery. As I've always stated, an addict is constantly in the storm, and sometimes you get some periods of clear skies, but the storm is always right over the horizon. You'll be in the eye of the storm, and next minute you'll be um, in 10-foot waves and pounding rain, which actually happened this weekend. So let me check in and say how I've been. I've been great. I've been tired. Um, I thought I was only going to miss a week of podcasting, of episodes, but I actually missed 2 weeks because I was just tired. I mean, we had a two-stage process of moving, and if you follow me on Instagram, you would have saw the first stage was, and we also did renovations to this place too. So the first stage was moving Kimberly from her place to here. Well, no, well, yeah, the first stage was actually coming here and doing and putting up televisions, mounting them to the wall, and other finishing work Also, the contractors were here, so we were working around them. Everything was still dusty, so we were cleaning. Um, it was just a lot of work. And then some more packing. And finally, the truck came that weekend, that Sunday. And luckily, they were very efficient movers. But of course, once they get everything here, there's like tons of boxes to go through and moving boxes from place to place. Stuff coming from storage, and both of us were coming from two marriages. Uh, you know, many years of life. Both of us are over 50, so it's a lot of just memorabilia and stuff. You had to be purged and throw out. I threw out a lot of stuff that no longer suit me. I needed to get rid of it. I'm carrying stuff around just to carry it around and no longer in that thing. Like I'm not gonna DJ anymore, so there's no need for me to be carrying around DJ equipment anymore. Um, that's something that I did in the past, and a lot of stuff that I would carry around as mementos from previous relationships and marriages just had to go. So it was a great purging process because I'm if you know me, I'm into tiny homes and minimalist living. So it's nice to go through that process of seeing how you can live under in 1,000 square feet and stuff like there is a garage, so we have a lot of stuff in the garage we're supposed to give away, and so it's just a lot of purging and just stuff you don't need. So like fortunately, I can read all my coloring books. I have to get some more. I'll talk about coloring sometime. It's a meditation practice. So, I have to get rid of all of those. I'm gonna redo that. But if I redo it, I'm gonna intentionally redo it and be serious about it. I actually have a coloring book Facebook group that I started, and I don't actually post in there. It's just there now, and I feel kind of bad about it. I should have kept it up, but it is what it is. Anyway, so it's been exhausting just putting up blinds and shelves and cabinets together. I've put together so much stuff, desks, furniture, boxes arrived like every day, and then after that, got her moved in. Then it was my turn to go get my stuff, and then moving here the following weekend. So that was another process of boxes, and I didn't have that much stuff, but I had boxes that I had to carry from my old place to this place, and then once I got those here, had to go through those boxes and go through my purging process, and on top of that, the 2 weeks I still had to work, so I worked here because of COVID, and it's just been a lot. My body is I'm 54 years old now, so the body can't do what it used to do. And then on top of that, the country went into a riot again because of the continuing murders of black people by the police. And I want to talk about how this time is just really hard. And I'm so glad I'm on in recovery now because, and I'm not drinking alcohol. I'm an emotional drinker. That's why I pretty much have sworn off alcohol. My drug of choice is cocaine, but alcohol definitely puts me in a bad place, being altered. Anything I do is addictive. You know what I'm saying? I have to watch everything that I do, even if it's with attention. It's just like me wanting to be in an altered state is just the way I prefer to be. And if I had a choice, I would probably be that way all the time and just be not productive. Well, I can't. No, that's not true. I'm a productive person. I love my work. I love what I do. But um, it's sort of like if I can end every day like that, I could do that. But it's hard to do that and be in relationships and things like that, and just be intelligent and study for things and build life. If you know you set aside time every day to be inebriated, so it's better for me just to be in recovery and leave it all alone. Um, unless I set intention for stuff. So the reason I say it's so good because it's such an emotional time with everything. So like I feel like after the last go around we had with with Black Lives Matter and the police continually killing black unarmed black people, I just sort of got numb to it, and I can't. Me myself personally, I can't watch the videos anymore because it's just too much. I haven't watched the George Floyd video. I can't imagine, seeing that happen, and then me just hearing the stories of him, calling out for his mother, and I'm saying, looking at these um, law enforcement officers just there and with no feeling. And I know they can get jaded from the job, but there with no feeling. And then to hear about the circumstances and that man shouldn't be dead. And then hearing about Breonna Taylor and that woman shouldn't be dead. And luckily her boyfriend's out of his charges were dropped. And then hearing about Aubrey, I forgot his name, him being dead. And there's another case in New Jersey of another unarmed black man being dead. And it's like we are in, as a black person in this country, you definitely feel like you're in the matrix. And for me, I had to grow, I had to just get numb to it. It's just so much to take on a daily basis. And then to work. And for me, I work in corporate. So to work with other people who aren't my color, who have no feelings about the situation at all. You could tell. I would work. I guess I'm gonna talk about it, but I would work. I worked in a trade association up here in DC for a while, and it was our boss. It was me and another brother. We worked there. I think we were going through. I don't know if it's Tamir Rice or what it was, but it was like it's always back to back. And we would come in to work, and these things were happening, and we would just like commiserate with each other and talk about it. But our boss, who was white, just didn't feel it. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't feeling anything. And then the other coworkers who white just don't feel it. They don't feel it. It doesn't phase them, and it's hard. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to work with people who don't, I guess, think that you matter, or you have though. Like they can see the injustice on TV or whatever, and they can see the violence, the upheaval, and say like, "Oh well, that's fucked up," you know what I'm saying? But not feeling the pain of, that could happen to me. And I know everybody has a story, but it could have been me a couple times when I was out there. I was out when I was young, like 18 or 19, 18 to 20 years old. I think one time, and I was still, bouncing back towards home. And before I was my first marriage, I was out driving a family car, and I had a gun pulled on me by a police officer for I was coming home from work, driving a family car that was a nice car, um, and we had the cars were leased to the family, and I think the tags got switched because there were two cars, same company. I guess they did the registration at the same time, and they put the tags on the wrong cars. So I'm just driving, not thinking about anything, coming home from work, and the next thing I know, there's a police officer standing in front of me with his gun out. The car wasn't reported stolen. I was dressed in a tie. I want to say I was dressed in a tie, like that's gonna make a difference. But I guess he felt as though I stole the car and he needed to pull the gun out. But he probably could have just came up and asked me, and I would have said that, But it wasn't that. It wasn't only he had a gun at me, pointed at me, um, telling me no move, and all this stuff. But there was a line of police cars behind him, you know, and at that time I was really green, and I didn't have any dealings with the law at all, except for a couple times, other times where being pulled over for no reason, and I was in shock because I was just driving home. I had no idea that the tags were messed up. It wasn't my car. It was my mother's car, as a matter of fact. And that was my and then I had to, and then he gave me the ticket. Nothing I could do but pay the ticket. It's just a frightening thing to have a guns pulled out at you for no reason, and that gets me thinking about um, Mr. Floyd and a $20 bill, a counterfeit or whatever $20 bill, and I worked in banking, and I've seen those, and we didn't call the police when we got those. It's like, oh, this is a you need to take this and do this with it. The bank, we don't take it. Nothing we can do with it. It's not real, so we just give it back. So the police being called, and him being, I don't know, detained and then end up dead is beyond comprehension. And it's like I'm so happy. Like I think today it hit me today. I was going out for my walk today, and it was just hit me. For some reason, I just thought about it, and it almost took me out. But I had to just stop, and just like, okay, let it go. That man is dead. It's done. But he shouldn't be dead. And then think about Breonna Taylor. She shouldn't be dead. It's like people shouldn't be dead, and they're dead because of the police. And you talk to, I'm done with the police. You talk to police officers, and they're oblivious to, like, this isn't. It's oblivious. They're oblivious to the fact that these people should not be dead. And they're I don't believe that. I believe that they know that this is wrong, and they have no choice but to, continue with their system. The system is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? There's no few bad apples. This system that we have now for policing in the United States is fucked up, and it needs to be fixed. Okay, so that's how I'm doing, as bad as everyone else in the country, because of the things we're dealing with, and luckily, I haven't felt the need to pick up. So, that's where I am in my check-in. I also want to talk about, well, that's not it. I want to talk about one more thing, though. Well, no, I'm going to talk about this. We're going to go ahead to our topic now, to our next segment. And today we're going to talk about early recovery. And I'm going to do a short reading on that. Early recovery includes the first 90 days of sobriety and can last up to the first year or so of recovery. The truth is there is no agreement on what constitutes early recovery. But what you'll find there here should be a good overview of this important time and offer your guidance towards some tried and true ways to help sustain your recovery. You may though hear other definitions for this period of your sobriety. What is important to understand is that early recovery is an opportunity for you to start fresh, and that's why I say it's a new beginning. So for me, it's interesting that it's a new beginning to me. I'm in a new relationship. I'm not. I guess I'm in a new phase of my relationship, living with someone again, and living in a new place, new job, new neighborhood. I went out walking for the first. I had time to walk this week. I did have to do some work around the house this week, but I did get a chance to go out walking both days, and I swear I can't wait till this place opens up. I can walk to the pool. There's walking paths. There's nice people walking around. Um, it just seems like a nice place to be. Actually have little there's Black Lives signs or little signs tacked up to the trees, and people aren't tearing them down. So it's like it's a mixed neighborhood. There's houses, condos, townhouses. It's off the main road, so it's like tucked in. So it's like a little enclave, and it's just really a nice place to be. And it just feels nice to start over in a place like this where I'm at today, and it's a blessing. But then wherever you go, there you are. And I had a slight misunderstanding. It's like starting a new relationship too. I guess I kind of see what they say when, like, if you're in early recovery, the first year is not a good idea to be in relationships because relationships are hard, right? Even in a relationship that's as good as mine is with Kimberly, we still hit rough parts, and it's not her, it's me, right? It's like I have my recovering brain take something that's straightforward and will twist it up. And I've been in a bad place all day, like because of my understanding of what was said last night about some things. And instead of me being able to just talk about it, I'm brooding. But I could see like the difference of me now and how I used to be just years ago in my previous relationships. Everything was drama filled with me and like be an argument or I need to know exactly what you're saying because I hate ambiguity and all this and that. And today I was just able to be quiet and go through what I had to go through. And it wasn't until, like I said, I had another episode planned that Kimma asked me, "Are you ready to record?" I said, "Well, I'm gonna do another episode because I think we're in a bad place." And she was totally confused and didn't understand exactly what I was talking about because I was in a bad place. She was perfectly fine, right? That's the addict brain, you know. That's the addict brain trying to understand. But see, I'm gonna say this though. It's not the addict brain. It's the addiction. I know that now because I know that the addiction doesn't want me here, right? It wants to be in full control. And if it can sow seeds, and what I've learned um, through my dealings in ethical non-monogamy and reading lots of books on relationships is that if I don't understand what's going on, don't do nothing. Shut up. Just shut up until I can ask and talk. Before I would attack, and I need to know and this is why are you doing this and all this kind of stuff. But now it's like, okay, I don't know what's going on. So at this point, I need to be still and wait for an opportunity to express myself and ask questions. Um, the only thing with the day is I had I had to put up blinds today. Um, big blinds, the blinds over the patio door. So I was busy with that all day, and I wanted to cook and all this kind of stuff. So it kept me busy all day, and I really didn't take the time to address anything. But I didn't take the time to attack either. I just took the time to just be with myself and work through the feelings that I need to work through. And fortunately, when we did get a chance to talk about it, again we could say again it was me having an issue with nothing, like having an issue with myself because basically if I really look at the situation, I don't want to talk about exactly what the situation was. Um, the situation was I was feeling guilty about some things. I had said some things that I would do or didn't or wasn't going to do, and I was doing it. She confronted me on it. She confronted me about it. I felt guilty. I went to um, I don't know, defensive mode or whatever, and just sort of instead of just admitting I'm wrong and moving on, I decided to brood about it, I guess, and misunderstand what she was saying to me. So it was on me. So it was. I'm glad that I've learned to be quiet. I've learned to center, and I've learned to not react to what I think is going on, but to ask questions about what I don't understand. So that was good. Could I have done that before today? No, that wouldn't have been the case. Might be age, might be experience, but if this had been, and I'm sure I've been in a situation in past relationships at this point in, I guess, recovery because I've been here before, but I wasn't conscious of the stage of recovery that I was in, and that I really can't trust all my emotions at that point. And I shouldn't trust all my emotions. I should ask, what did you mean by that? That's a good question. That's a good question to ask. What did you mean by that? Could you explain that to me? Instead of me just jumping to conclusions and making things worse. Um, so that's what I learned today. So let me just go over a couple of these things, couple of these things about what to to what you could do or what I should be doing, and anyone else who's in early recovery, you should make time for play. It's time to enjoy life. Unfortunately, right now we're in COVID pandemic and can't get out. That's either a good or bad thing for me. Make time for play. See what good or bad thing for me. I don't know yet. I would like to be going out, but it's not too bad. Not being able to go out and spend a lot of money that I don't have yet because I'm just starting working again. So, but it's also a desire to go out again. So, I'm patient. I'm good with it. We'll be going on a road trip at the end of the month. We'll talk about that later. Be proud of milestones. I'm very proud of my recovery days. Um, I was proud of 90 days, and I'm proud of 141 days. And I'm now looking forward to 6 months. Avoid dating. Yeah, don't do that. But I don't know. That's up to you. I will tell you this: respect it, respect it, respect it, respect it, respect it. Relationships, even good ones, they still require work. They require communication, emotional intelligence. Um, and here's the thing too, though. I think that the thing I really treasure about our relationship with Kemma right now is that our relationship isn't built on any. It's not traditional. I should say it's like non-traditional. We're all right. So I'm gonna say we're anchor slash nest partners, right? So if you're in the ethical non-monogamy, we're anchor partners, right? So we anchor each other. Um, we're not primaries or anything like that. We just treasure the way we communicate and the way that we're able to listen to each other and what um, understand what we bring to the table and where we're at any given time. I appreciate that. So we're each other's anchor, right? We understand where we're going, where we want to go, and that's a good thing. And we're nesting partners, right? So one thing we did when we first had an opportunity to sit down here on the balcony, and everyone's invited to the Zen Den. It's a great place. It's cool. The balcony is the joint. So we were able to sit out on the balcony one day and we're talking, and we were able to express to each other what we expected from this relationship. And I think that even for me, in this emotional time that I went through today, one thing that I could always go back to is, well, we're anger partners, we're nesting partners. It's not emotional. That's what we are, right? And we were able to express, what we were looking for and what we thought we wanted out of this relationship, and it was great. And that's something that we can go to, and it's not like no one else wrote it for us. It's like what we expected. We talked about it, and that's what we're doing. So that's very grounding. So avoid dating if you can't do that, because all the other shit is whack. All right, and I wouldn't recommend it. I don't know if I don't know. Being ethically non-monogamous at this point. I don't know. It's like with COVID and everything. It's totally up in the air. It's is it more worth? Is it more trouble to be in multiple relationships, or is it easier to be in one relationship because you don't want to catch COVID, right? I don't. It's a weird time, right? So avoid dating if you know. Continue to work on making amends, and amends are important. It's a spiritual step. That's spiritual work right there. And for me, amends. I haven't started working on amends yet. I guess reaching out to people as it comes up and talking about the past and what's happened in the past. But it's a step by step basis. Um, Luckily, I never took any money from anyone, so that's something that I don't have to worry about. I think that people who I may have hurt, I've already, reached out and talked to them. For the most part, there's some people who probably don't want to hear nothing from me anymore. And there's some relationships that I've just had to just walk away from because they weren't good for me then, and they're not going to be good for me now. So it's important to make amends when you can. It's important to think about people you've hurt, family, friends, and it's important to address that. It's a spiritual step. It's a spiritual work. It's spiritual work right there. Watch out for overconfidence. This is a big one. Luckily, I haven't had to deal with it. Recognize the signs of relapse. And this is something that I want to read about. It's increased feelings of hopelessness or negativity, easily angered or annoyed, increased stress, skipped meetings, putting yourself in risky situations, loss of interest in family, friends, and activities. Now, that's the signs of relapse for me, right? Like if I had went if I had that situation that I was talking about early, if I had exploded, that's what I'm talking about the addiction, right? If I had exploded and went off and you know what I'm saying, continue that downward spiral, and that's normal. That's normal for me, right? I'm gonna continue, and I gotta go out, and I gotta get mad. I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and give me this and give me that, because all I want to do um, is just get. All I want to do is get back to what works, and what works, or in an addict mind, what works is the drug, right? All this other stuff takes work, right? And there's no guarantee that you're gonna be happy in this stuff, but I'm in more peace now than ever been. So if I'm dealing with any of those, I know I'm on my way out. Develop your spirituality. Take time to have fun. Feel your feelings. Feel your feelings. It's okay to be like upset. It's okay to be tired. It's okay to be mad. Um, Mind your financial responsibilities. And that's why I want to say something about that too. A little bit. It was important for me to do a lease when I moved here because it's important for me to um, know that I'm doing what I need to do to take care of myself. It's important to do my part. It's important for me to have my responsibilities and take care of my responsibilities. Um, I don't ask for help at all because I don't need it. Because I'm gonna take care of myself. I'm gonna take care of my family. I'm gonna take care of home. Um, One day at a time. All right, so I'm gonna leave it there with that, and I'm gonna move on to the last part of the show. And the last part of the show is basically Ask an Addict. I do post on Instagram asking for questions about addiction. You can ask an addict. You can, if you're an addict or you know an addict, or you have a question about addiction and you want to ask me, I'm an expert, but I do have a lot of years of using, 141 days of not using, and I read a couple books. I know how not to stay. I know how not to use 141 days. That's what I know. So I can answer these questions from my experience, my strength, and my hope. What was the biggest? And this is a question I found from Facebook. I'm gonna read it and answer the question. Run out of time, so I'm not gonna answer it too much. What was the biggest reason or on why you got addicted to drugs and alcohol? Now, I'm gonna tell you the biggest reason why I got. It's real easy. Why I got addicted to drugs and alcohol. I am an addict. There's no, and it's funny. I was reading the questions. This question is from Facebook in a group that I'm in, and everyone's talking about boyfriends, girlfriends, this, that. I was sick, tired, lonely, and for me, it's just like there was no reason why I became addicted to um, anything. I just became addicted because I'm an addict. That's it. Why did I continue using when I knew that I'm an addict? That's the real question, right? Once you know you're an addict, once you go to your first AA meeting or NA meeting or whatever type of meeting you went to, your first rehab, and you know, like when you know you have cancer, why you didn't go get the operation or why you didn't take the medicine or the treatment, you know what I mean? Like once you know why you didn't, then you go into the whole, this and that and this and that. But why did you, why did you become addicted? Because I'm an addict. You know what I'm saying? I did everything people around me did. It affected me differently, and I became addicted. you know, and once I found my drug of choice, that was it. Um, so as long as I stay in recovery, I don't have to do that anymore. So never ever do I want to take my drug of choice again, and I'm happy with that. I read something else. I think I missed one thing about in the um, what to do while you're in early recovery, and I want to talk about that. And it was like, oh, try not to let urges upset you. And this is something that I had to work out myself because I do get urges, and I think it's just natural that there's nothing that I could do about it but stop it because that could lead to cravings, and if a trigger hits you, doom. It could, but now I think about it, it's like I can't go out there anymore, so it's like rough. So great. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be in this new space. I'm looking forward to many shows. I hope that you listen to the throwback show I did last week. I think I posted a show about from ethical non-monogamy, an interview with Kimmel or Kimmel interviewing me about ethical non-monogamy, about what ethical non-monogamy is to you. And I hope to get back to that one day. Talk about some more ethical non-monogamy. Um, but right now with COVID, there's no ethical non-monogamy going on around here. Um, there's just monogamy in a very open and fun way. Okay, so I think that it's gonna wrap it up for this week. But as usual, I have to take a moment for the still suffering addict. If you are still suffering from addiction, you can find help. You just have to want it and set your intentions to set your intentions to go to get into recovery. Um, the one thing that people used to tell me all the time was get help. You can't get help unless you know what you need help with. And for me, I needed help understanding what recovery was or what recovery is and what I wanted from recovery. And once I figured that out, the rest just fell into place, right? Setting attention about building a life, not being fucked up and alone. And then once I set that road, once I knew that and started working towards that, things start falling in place. So, um, if that's what you need, just find somebody to talk to. Once you set that intention, start finding people to talk to online, on social media, go to recovery programs, whatever. Talk about that, what you want to do. Figure that out, and then with work, you never have to use again one day at a time. Okay, great. If you have any questions about living with recovery or just need someone to talk to, drop me an email at cpiercejr@gmail.com. I'm a nowhere expert, but I will try to answer you. Um, I'm very frank and very honest. So don't come and read with the bullshit. That's all I gotta say. All right, so I'm gonna leave it right there this week. Thank you for listening and watching. And always remember to love and respect yourself first and everything else will take care of itself. Peace and namaste.